Meeting on Tuesday, June 2nd at 6 p.m. So, invocation, and Father, we ask for your wisdom, guidance, and discernment in the decisions we make that affect our village and its residents. We also ask you to watch over our police, our military, and all who serve. Roll call, please.
Trustee Keller.
Here.
Trustee McGurran.
Here.
Trustee Nelson.
Here.
Trustee Pike.
Here.
Trustee Porter, absent. Trustee Rowdy.
Here.
President Wecken.
Here. Thank you. Okay, item 2, review and approve minutes from the regular board meeting of May 5, 2026.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Brian. For a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Nick. Any discussion, amendments, or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none. All in favor of the minutes that have been approved, signal saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Number 3 is comments from the floor, limited to 3 minutes per speaker. This is the opportunity for the Village of North Hudson residents, property owners, business owners to make the board aware of new topics, issues, and opportunities not on today's agenda for consideration for future meetings. And looks like everybody's here for a reason. So we'll move on to number 4, which is new business from the board or staff and president's comments. Well, I think as the school gets out and the way the weather is right now, the children, I want everybody to watch out for the children on these bicycles and there are a lot of these electric bikes because I know they go screaming around there, and we need to watch for them because I don't believe a lot of them watch for us. So let's make sure we watch out for everybody out there. And just a few of the, not much going on too much in June, but there's we celebrate Flag Day on the 14th, and then the following Sunday is Father's Day and the first day of summer. So I wish all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day. And then, since we won't be meeting before the 4th of July, I would like to tell and remind everyone that it is the 250th anniversary of the founding of our country, and it is, and it just happens to, fall on a Saturday this year, which is good for everyone. And I know there's a lot of activities planned, but I hope everybody will remember what, what they did to fight for the freedom that we now have. So, and with that, I'll pass off to Gina.
Wonderful. So just a couple of quick reminders with May wrapping up as fast as it went. No Mow May is now officially over, so we ask all residents to please, if you have not yet, go out and get your lawns mowed so we don't have to send you a reminder letter. We would appreciate that. Again, that's within our ordinances on what that looks like and what our guidelines are, but please watch for that if you practiced No Mow May, intentionally or unintentionally. Like my husband, whose lawnmower was broken, unintentionally, no mow May. We did have a successful tree and shred event, so our first event that we offered out for free trees, although maybe a little smaller than we had anticipated, still free trees, and the shred event. So thank you to everybody who came out and the park board for helping supply some volunteers to help make that event successful. I got to go 1 month without talking about elections, but the August election is back on our agenda. So it is a primary, and it is, we will be having at least one item on ours, as we do have a candidate for the St. Croix County. We have 2 candidates running for the clerk of court from the same party. So we will have a primary for sure for the St. Croix County clerk of court. So that would be August 11th. So watch for, as we prepare for that election. We did have the Board of Review since we met last, held on the May 12th. There were no objections filed, so that is complete, and we have filed that with the state as well. Did want to mention that the Hudson Area Sewer Service Plan meeting, the next one is June 8th. Myself and Matt attend that on behalf of the village. I have more information if people are interested. Real quick, what is a sewer service area plan or an SSA plan? It really anticipates the community's need for future sewer service or water treatment services. And so obviously the city of Hudson is the provider of our sewer and service here, but because we're serviced by them, we are asked to participate in those meetings, those SSA meetings. So our next meeting is June 12th. So at the next time that we regroup, I'll be able to talk about a little bit about what is being discussed in that meeting. One other committee update I wanted to mention is that we did have a Board of Zoning Appeals. We have 3 open applications for variances right now. Unfortunately, there's not enough for a quorum in June. They also were not able to get a quorum in May. So at this point, we have the next Board of Zoning Appeals meeting scheduled for July. We have a fence variance, a shed variance from the school, and a possible garage addition variance. So if you'd like more information on any of those, definitely let us know. We have those, and of course, those that are in the impacted 100-foot area will be getting another letter for a couple of these and a new letter for the third one. So then as far as permits and licenses, we did have 11 builders permits issued in April. Again, we're a month out. No new peddlers licenses. We did process 6 operators licenses and 3 utility permits in May. That's what I've got.
Thank you, Gina. Okay, item 5, Northern Natural Gas Survey, discussion and possible actions. Do we have a motion to go ahead for discussion?
We have 3 motions here. Do we want to hear from them first, or you want me to make a particular motion?
We have to have a motion first, I would think.
Well, you can have them present, and
Okay.
then before the board discusses, you can start with the motion.
Okay.
You want to do that?
Start with the motion?
Or start with having them present?
Yeah,
You
I'd
just
rather
can't
have 'em-
discuss until
Yeah,
there's a motion.
I don't know which motion I want to make until I hear it.
Perfect. Do you want to?
So I
Yep.
don't have a formal presentation. We can get through it and then take over any questions. So we'll go up there and,
Yeah, perfect.
just so we know that there's been
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, no, I did not request anything formal, just had them come to answer questions. This just helps us as this is available online to people, so then they can hear you.
Okay. So we are, what we're doing, right now we have a 4-inch line that runs through here, and that service line that goes underneath there connects to an 8-inch line, and that needs to be inspected so that we can ensure that we're maintaining safety for the residents that are receiving the gas. And as a part of that, we can't do that with the current installation. So what we're going to be doing is installing a new 8-inch line completely throughout an entire segment that would start just where this station is here, where it has the Hudson, Wisconsin #1. Kind of goes up and then comes back across, so it would be a bore underneath the river, over to a landing point on the Minnesota side, and then it would continue for a little ways to a new station so that we could service the community with gas coming in here for your service providers.
So the first red line up on top, you're taking that one out?
That one would be abandoned in place, correct, that's the current 4-inch.
Oh, it's staying underneath?
Correct.
So no removal?
Well, that's the current proposal, so we're still in consultation with the DNR. If they decide that we need to remove it or however that's gonna happen, right now, we're proposing to cut and cap it though. So we
But
would grout it.
Where would you cut and cap it? Because on low water times down here by Ferry Landing, we can see this thing.
Yeah. Andrew, do you have proposed cut and cap points? Because on this side, because I do know that we are going to be doing a cut and right here at this
Yeah.
point is where it would be done. But as far as being on this side, we don't have any. So we just basically cut here and grout the line over to the station.
Okay, so you're leaving that current line all the way right up to the station?
That's the current plan.
So can you look into capping it off below the water line? Can you do that?
We can look at it. We're not opposed to that. We do have to go through and make sure that we're not doing anything that's going to be adversely impactful to the environment, though.
Okay. And if I can I see the big one again here, the 30?
Yeah.
So the green, I didn't understand the green all the way up in here.
Yeah, so that's our survey corridor. So what we need to do is collect data to determine if we're going to be impacting anything that is environmentally or culturally sensitive. So we need to survey those areas that we intend to maybe use during the project to ensure that we're not impacting any sensitive sites.
When you say maybe use, I mean, you've got house lots in there. How would you maybe use?
We don't have any house lots. Where are you seeing that?
Right here?
Yeah, so those are outside our corridor. So the city owns this parcel. It comes up kind of like this and wraps around. That's the entire parcel of the
Right.
city.
So you're staying inside, so this green, what does the green mean?
Oh, these out
Yeah.
here? Oh, those are parcel, that's the plating for the subdivision.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it doesn't have anything
No.
to do, you're staying inside this blue?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That answers the green. And then, so maybe this is more a Mary question, but how much damage is going to happen in that park?
So right now for the surveys, there would be no damage.
Okay.
We do anticipate that we would probably have findings for rusty patch bumblebee in there. That's just in a floristic survey. It's all foot traffic.
Okay.
The cultural survey itself, you would see that happening. It would be limited to like a shovel turn of dirt and placed right back.
Okay.
Very minimal impact. Likely not to occur in areas that already has visible ground. It would be in those grassy areas, but it's not that many, and we can definitely find out once they get out there, what would be required. We do have some ideas to partner with the township, or is it townships?
Village.
Village.
Village, okay. In order to make the project work, we can't really have those discussions yet because without the survey, we don't know what the topography is in the area, so we need to be able to get that to understand kind of from this road to get up into here, like what does that look like? Is it very steep? Is it workable? Are we, doing something that is going to be more of a problem than could be? So we have to kind of investigate that. So that's the purpose of the survey, is to understand kind of what are those things that would be impacted by the project.
Okay.
Just so you know, my name is Steven Martinez. I'm with Northern Natural Gas, and we're out of Mendota Heights. For your record, I'm sorry, didn't get that in there.
So if we say, okay, the survey, you're coming back to us with the results of the survey, and then we still have an opportunity to say, well,
So the data that's collected is not public data.
okay,
It's project-related data, and there would be a report. This project is scheduled to be filed with FERC. It's the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. So this would be what's called a Section 7 filing is what we're currently looking at. And as part of that, anything that would be available would come as a result of that. Cultural data you would not be entitled to receive. That's sensitive, and SHPO won't allow us to release any of that. But anything that we can tell you about, we could. I can tell you that we do know, like in this area already for the potential findings, that this has rusty patch bumblebee in it. So we would assume that would expand potentially.
Yeah.
But, I mean, with those things, we can kind of let you know, but there's not really like a results thing that we could give you. We would just do an analysis on what the impacts would be. We would take civil survey to understand what the topography is, collect the lot lines to make sure we're within the right boundaries of the properties that we're using, understand, what landowners are impacted specifically, and then also go through and ensure that if there are any cultural sensitive items, they're called out, and then we're maintaining the distances. We'd also look for raptor surveys to understand if there's any nesting birds, eagles, anything like that, existing eagle nests. Those have setback requirements that we have to keep. We would also look for endangered species and plant life, like if you have any special trees, like for example in Stillwater, there's a couple trees over there that in the project where this line runs that are protected, so we have to be careful of those. So that's the kind of data that they would be collecting for the surveys.
okay. That answers my questions.
Any other questions from the board?
Yes. So just to clarify, the survey that we're approving is only for the village property, which is the park property, essentially.
Correct. The village, you guys have these two parcels here, and then you have this larger parcel. So it's 3 parcels in total of the city, or the village.
That compose
It's a right-
Summers Landing and Ferry Landing parks.
Yep.
And you're saying there will be no disruption from the survey to any of the village property?
Correct. There's a caveat to that. We have another survey that we want to do that I've given to Gina, and that's called a geotechnical bore. And what we want to do is collect soil data. We would be boring down 230 feet in this location. We want to do it in this open parking lot so that there's no impact, and that they can take everything with them when they're leaving. We estimate that that would take about 2 weeks for them to complete that bore. It's just straight down. We need to understand what we're getting into in order to bore the river. So we need to collect soil sample to go through and have that analysis done to make sure that when we're doing the bore, that we're getting deep enough to be able to complete it without having an adverse effect to the properties.
So what other entities are also being surveyed for this? You meant, it looks like it goes into Stillwater, it goes across the river. Like, what are the other entities that are involved?
So the project as a whole, all of the stakeholders would be independent landowners. Then you have certain city municipalities and airports beyond this area that are also participating as part of this. There are soil bores that would take place in the river. They would be done by a barge. So that's being permitted currently, so they would take those samples. And this project eventually goes over kind of just through these subdivisions here. And we route down behind this existing area. We go through Lake Elmo Airport, if you're familiar with that, just over here. And then we come to an ending point where we're going to construct a new station, where we have an existing station that exists here, but we're going to relocate some of those items over here and install this station as a connection at that point. So we're working with that developer to determine how that's going to look as well.
What does the drilling look like? Like the 250 feet, like allowed big equipment or?
So imagine like a 3/4 ton truck type of equipment. I would assume that's what we've seen in the past. Each drilling company, which they haven't selected one yet, has their own equipment. So you may see that, or it may be something that's on like large tires. Essentially, they would set up, it'd be like drilling an actual well, like for water, is the type of scenario. So like 6 inches round, we would drill down, take core samples as they're going to determine what that consistency is down in there. And like I said, they'll be going across the river doing the same thing, and then on the other side, there's multiple bores that they would collect as well.
Is it gonna be shut? So you said that you're gonna be doing it in a parking lot.
Yeah,
Of-
it would be
of-
contained to, basically, when they come out, they would bring their equipment. If they don't have it on a 3/4 ton truck, they would bring it out on like a lowboy. So that would park somewhere, and then you'd have the equipment itself in a couple pickups is what that particular activity would look like.
I think I know where he's going. So we have limited parking space.
Limited parking here.
It would,
Can you move it inside and leave the parking lot and go on the inside?
so that's why we want to have the discussion, because right now we do have it scheduled to go further into the tree line. But we were afraid, based on that you guys would kind of not want that because there would be some activity. So we're kind of like, as the road, you have this road that comes in, we're kind of on the edge of it, is where we're proposing it. And I was proposing to move it back by the tree line here, just so we would be taking up essentially one parking spot, so that we're not in the middle, to allow traffic to still flow around in both directions, to be limited in the impact for that period of time that they're going to be doing the bore. But it'd be up to you guys, however you want us to try to make it work. Once they're set up, they have to keep going, like straight down, so.
It's about 2 weeks.
I would anticipate, because generally, these would be a couple of days. Usually those are between 30 and 80 feet.
Okay.
But we're going 230. We don't know what type of equipment issues they're going to run into with going that depth, or if they're going to have any issues getting down to that depth because of resistancy in the earth itself.
If we say yes.
What's the
when
time
would you
frame of
plan to start?
So, also a great question. I do know that they want to start the soil bores in June, mid-June, the 15th-ish, but that's not necessarily here. I can get more data from the subcontractor on when they would actually be there, so that we can determine that. I know it's not ideal for any of the surveys because it does impact all of the high season time, but we're limited in time in Minnesota, as you are aware, as to when construction can occur and collection of data can be successful.
It's just, if we can avoid taking out parking spaces, that would be my preference.
So maybe,
July 4th is a big water
Yeah.
weekend for us.
so maybe it would be beneficial if somebody from your board would want to go to the site one day of your choosing to kind of look out what you think the best location would be, and then we could make it at that point so that you guys can have a say in where that is and help us understand what that would look like for you, if that makes sense.
So question, today only in front of us today is not the boring.
It's not the soil bore, no,
So
we just
it's
literally just delivered that to Gina, so I don't want you to take action on that, because your council probably hasn't had a chance to review it yet, there might be questions or things that need to be redlined, and we also need to identify the site, so you would be approving something that's unfounded. So we don't want to do that, so right now, we're just asking for the survey permissions to do the foot traffic related to the cultural, civil, and environmental surveys.
And can we get back information on which of those surveys?
So we can't release anything that's related to culturally sensitive.
Okay.
If we have findings for any endangered or environmental impacts similar to the rusty patch bumblebee, we can let you know where that is. I don't think we would have a specific map that we could give you just yet. Those would still be in development, but we can definitely share what we can that would be publicly available.
So we would certainly like to get back the habitat, vegetation, the soil test, water bodies, wetland, well, everything other than the cultural, to help us have full information.
We
as
can
we're
give to
moving
you
forward.
the information that would be able to be released to the public in a limited capacity based on what's available, if that makes sense. So I can't promise you we could give you a full deliverable report, but we could give you the findings.
Can I
It's
ask
our
why?
property.
It is your property, that's correct. And the answer to why is because the report hasn't been compiled yet. So the filing itself, when we file with FERC, that would have everything in it. But all of our reports will be into draft status until about 2 weeks before we file. So if we gave you something, the information could change. We may have to do additional surveys. For example, if there's certain types of, let's say they find a certain type of butterfly that they have to do additional netting surveys. So we would be preemptively giving you information without having the full details.
And this is just stemming back to the fact that we need to replace a 4-inch pipeline to a 10-inch, is that what you said? Or
It's to an 8-inch.
to an 8-inch so that it can help supply the new station that you guys want to put in Lake Elmo?
No. So what would happen if we're not able to do the project is we would have to reduce capacity to the delivery point that's currently in your city. And that would mean that there would be a reduction to the person that's receiving the gas that ultimately would affect the end users, such as homes and residents in the area, because that pipeline cannot operate at a max capacity because we don't know the safety of it, because we're unable to inspect it.
That's kind of what I wanted to know.
There's no safety concerns currently, just so we're on the same page. But because we don't have that internal tool that we could run, we're definitely running into some concerns with PHMSA. And so they're saying if you can't meet this compliance date, then you have to reduce the capacity to operate at a safer level.
Okay.
Andrew, that's correct?
It's this gas line, as it hits us, where does it go from us?
So from here?
Yeah.
Into your city?
Yeah.
I don't have that information. We are the transporter only. So Northern Natural Gas is a transport company of natural gas, so we deliver to those points such as our station here in your city. And then from there, those customers take that out and distribute it into the city as they see fit.
So you can't say whether our station actually helps or feeds Hudson,
So
the city of?
if you have I can tell you if you have natural gas in the city, it does feed from here. I don't know where that comes from though,
Okay.
as far as the status of it. I do know that we have looked at other routes and alternatives, and there's not any other supplier delivering gas to here.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be versed on the distribution systems though, because I don't have access to who all provides distribution service in the area. I know there's 2 companies that receive gas from here. From that, I don't know where it goes.
Curiosity question.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Gary? Dusty? Nick?
Any
Anybody?
other questions for?
No, I think we should just plan to request the private data that's available to us when this is completed. Because it's our property, so as the property owner, we should be able to get the private data.
Yes and no. There's certain data that when it's collected, it's the company property, and it's not releasable to the landowners. But I can tell you that we're willing to partner with you to release to you what information is publicly available.
So when you say culture, are you talking about like Indian burial ground kind of things, or?
If you have findings of that, there could be a multitude of different things. There could be, let's talk about that, right? So we could be looking at old building foundations. We could be looking at like pottery shard findings or scatters of pottery shards. We could be looking at burial mound type scenarios. There could be other culturally related facts that are within the property that we have to be sensitive of. There could be a home that's nearby that we have to get information on that's historically preserved. Those types of things go into the cultural report, and then those findings then create boundaries and things that we have to have for setbacks. For example, we have a project in Minnesota right now that we're doing where we had to do further investigation because we found a foundation, and turns out that, back in the early 1904, there was a post office there. So we had to do additional findings to determine, where that is and what is our setbacks going to be. Or has the farmer, as time goes, scattered that about and it wasn't actually at that location, it was somewhere else. So it's a very detailed report that they go through. The history items of that, I wish we could give it to you. That would be something you have to make a request through SHPO to see if they would be willing to release that information.
SHPO is,
Yep, they're the regulatory body that would cover anything related to historical findings.
so because it is our parkland, more concerned about the natural environment and what you would find there, and us getting that information so that we can make fully informed decisions regarding the boring and the other things that will presumably be coming after this.
Yes, and we wouldn't have any of that we could give to you before the boring would happen. All of those surveys would be ongoing at the same time. So the civil survey is just a guy coming out, getting the topo data to find out what the elevations are, property lines and so on. Cultural survey, obviously, as we just walked through. And then the environmental survey would collect things like plants, species, and anything like that would be endangered. Those reports would still be being compiled well after the time that we would want to do the soil bore itself.
You good? Stan, I'd like to make a motion to approve the request by Northern Natural Gas for permission to perform survey work on village-owned property.
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Dusty. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of allowing the survey to take place, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thanks for
Appreciate
coming
it.
in.
Yeah,
you.
and Gina, as I said, any questions, we're an open book, so just let us know.
Sounds
And then
good.
I'll reach out to you to find out for somebody to go in the field to make a location for that.
Okay, perfect, and
Thank
I'll
you.
get this filled out and signed. Sit back here. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate you guys coming.
Guys?
Definitely couldn't have answered those questions.
that?
I definitely could not have answered those questions.
Yeah, no kidding.
Tough act to follow, Drew.
Yeah.
We'll just check the.
I won't ban any parkland.
Okay,
Well, that's true, good point.
on to item 6, is the 2025 Hudson Fire Department Annual Update, discussion only. And the Chief Drew Spellman is here, and Drew, go ahead and make your pitch.
All right, good evening. Thanks for having me up tonight to go over our annual report for 2025. I believe you've all had a chance to review it prior to tonight. I'll run through some highlights through that. And then I'd also like to touch on where we're at right now with a possible referendum, looking at potential full-time staff, the reasons behind it, stuff like that, and then to field any questions where we're at in that process right now. So I'll just run through this, point out a couple highlights. So this is, I think, something that's very important to understand. It kind of relates to why we're looking at transitioning to some form of full-time staff. Is the average age of our firefighters is 46. The national average is 36. So we are an old department. Not to say that that's a bad thing, because people stick around, people want to be a part of the department. But what that means is about 21% of our members are no longer considered interior firefighters. There are drivers, there are guys that are in support roles, and when you take out 20% of your force that are non-interior firefighters, it reduces the amount of people that are potentially available to fight fires. So that's one of the big things I want to point out here, was the average age of our members. One issue that we're seeing, and I think it's is being felt industry-wide or within the area, public safety-wise, is we live in a very high-value area. And for people to come for starter homes and young people that want to start a family, Hudson is not an area that they can afford to buy and live. And we're not having young people apply to be firefighters. So this last group of people that we hired, and we hired 8 here last August, all of them are 30 years old and above, right? We're not getting 19-year-olds, we're not getting 20-year-olds, we're not getting 25-year-olds, because they're not, those types of people aren't in the community. Hudson is a retirement, becoming a retirement community and a younger professionals community. So that's why I think our numbers, there's a discrepancy in our numbers, is because we're not drawing those types of people, right? You have to go further out to get affordable housing. So just wanted to bring that up. So every year, we review calls that we've been on, and we recognize members that have done exceptional things throughout the year on calls. And this year we had three incidents where our personnel, in my opinion, exceeded, I guess, what is expected of them. One, we had a life-saving award. We were dispatched with Lakeview to a local home improvement center for cardiac arrest in the parking lot. One of our members was literally blocks away when the call came in, responded directly to the scene, and initiated CPR prior to the ambulance arrival and our arrival as the fire department. And that patient then did leave with a pulse on the way to the hospital. So that was a very good thing on that end of it. The other one was we had a call out at Willow River State Park. We had a mountain biker that crashed and subsequently was in cardiac arrest. They were about 300 or 400 feet off a main road. To get down to them, we had to hike down to the person that was in cardiac arrest, had to package him up, move him out. He subsequently was transported to the hospital via helicopter. So we recognize those people for a very difficult rescue in very difficult terrain to remove the patient from the park. So, and then the bottom one was a meritorious service award that we recognize our members. We had a structure fire in the town of Hudson that resulted in a fatality. But during that fatality, we had to go back and help the medical examiner try to find the deceased. So after fighting the fire for 6 hours, the crew went back to the station, and we were able to get 8 or 9 of our members to go back out that day. And for 6 hours, we sifted through the rubble until we were able to locate it. So they had been up 12 hours, and we wanted to recognize them for the effort that they put in adverse conditions to help locate the decedent. So. And as I mentioned before, many of you probably saw, and as many of you probably know, Skinny, Jeff DeBruzzi. He was recognized as our public safety member of the year for our assembly district, Shannon Zimmerman. So I nominated Skinny for his years of service. As you probably saw in our last Facebook post, he just completed 37 years as an assistant chief. He's been on the department for almost 46 years. So he's staying on. He's sticking around, which is a good thing. But we were able to go to the state capitol. He was recognized with all the other members within the state that were nominated within their assembly districts, and it was a very good event, well deserving for him to be recognized at the state level. And then our year in review, we had 643 calls for service that we provided. We took a slight dip from the year before. I think we were down 7 calls from the year before. Which, again, if you've seen any of our information, our call volume has increased in the last 10 to 15 years. It just keeps growing and going up, much like everything else in the area, and I'm sure EMS will touch on it in their presentation. As more people move to the area, more stuff's going on, there's just more demands for services. And this here, the response times, and I'll talk about that as well, about the reason to go to referendum. This is the average times. If you look at our 90th percentiles, which is a bigger cross range of data, it's even greater, our response times. But this is the times for when somebody calls 911, they dispatch us, and this is for the first fire truck to arrive. A lot of times you'll have myself will arrive, a chief will arrive, a captain will arrive. We have no firefighting capability in a pickup truck. So these are the times it takes for the very first fire truck to arrive that has firefighting capability at a call. So 15 minutes is what the average was in 2025 for the village. There's times that we were here before that, and there's times we were here, it took longer to get here. That's the issue we're having, right? Is we're having a decreased number of people that are available. We're having a decreased number of people that are living close to the station to get there, to get the truck out timely, to get to the call. So I can talk about that a little bit later as well. But this is the main driver behind it. These are the times. This is the reality. This is what we live with every day. So a little bit of mutual aid. We do mutual auto aid with surrounding departments. We do automatic aid with St. Joe Fire for structure fires, just as they do auto aid coming into the village with us. We provide auto aid and mutual aid to surrounding departments. We provided 65. We went out 65 times and provided mutual aid to people for incidents. We received mutual aid 112 times. So we receive help twice as much as we give help, and that's a direct reflection on our call volume. We simply have more calls than everybody else in the area, and that's why we receive more aid. And I'll just touch on the village. So the good thing for you guys last year was your call volume came down. I always joke that there wasn't a storm last year, which drives a spike in calls, which is a good thing. So it was a good year, and I think we're on track again for almost the same type of calls in the village again this year. It's tracking close to 30. So that's a good thing. And it must be safe up here, Chief, because there is no car accidents apparently. I can't say that for I-94. I'll just touch on this real quick as well, training. So our combined hours of training that our members put in was almost 4,000 hours. That's additional time that they put in outside of going on calls, responding on calls. And that's about 80 hours additional, or 80 hours more that they put in per person throughout the year. So this too as well, I think sometimes fire departments kind of undersell themselves in community outreach and things that we do within the community that we participate in. Last year, our members came in and participated in 72 public events. We were inside the schools or daycares 29 times, and this is kind of an estimate, but we figure about 3,000 kids we got in front of last year and provided fire safety presentations and related things too. So. And then this is just kind of a list of things throughout the year that we participate in and get out in the community. Co-compliance, last year in July, we hired an additional fire inspector, which has had a direct impact on the amount of inspections that we can perform and the follow-ups that we can perform. So we were able last year to perform a little over 1,000 initial inspections. Within our entire fire district, we have about 1,200 initial fire inspections we do. So we fell short of the year on the inspections that we were able to do. But this year we're tracking to get all those initials done. Of those, 535 of those 1,000 inspections had a violation of some sort that normally is followed up with within the week and is taken care of. We also, within the city, provide fire alarm inspections, sprinkler inspections when there's new construction. We have to go into inspections during the installs. We had 61 of those, and as you can see here through here, just all the different inspections that we do. 59 liquor license inspections does include some of the inspections we did in the village as well. So it's a lot. It's a big community. There's a lot going on, and we are constantly doing something. And just a few things that we were able to purchase last year through some capital is we finally moved into the 21st century. We got battery operated extrication tools. Hydraulics tools are pretty much becoming a thing of the past. the brand that we currently have, that we replaced. You can't even buy those hydraulic tools anymore. They've switched strictly to batteries. So that's the way of the future. We replaced a bunch of hose, more radios, and things like that. So that's kind of a quick recap of our 2025, but I thought it was worth coming up and sharing with you. So any questions on our 2025 year in review at all? All right. So I guess the other thing I just wanted to share is give you an update kind of where we're at, where we're moving towards potentially going for a referendum for public safety. I know there's been a lot of questions out there as why hasn't the communities that are going to be affected by this or benefit from this been able to participate in the survey that was sent out to the city residents. So it was decided at our our fire board meeting, I believe it was in March, Stan, I think it was our last one, that we were only going to send the survey out to city residents because it's the city fire department, and that they ultimately are the ones that are going to have to say yay or nay to moving forward with a levy increase. And I guess the unfortunate thing is whatever's decided within the city then trickles down to our partners, right? Who we provide contractual services for. By contract, you would have to follow suit. So that's why the survey did not go out to everybody. It's because, not that we didn't care, not that we don't value everybody's opinion, but as a cost savings, instead of mailing out 10,000 surveys versus 5,000, or again, not that we don't value people's opinions, you have a say, but you don't have a say, I guess, to bluntly put it, right? I mean, that's the fact of the matter. So that's why there's some discrepancy on why that survey was not sent out district-wide. So just to be honest about it, so.
So, and the referendum is only voted on by city
Correct.
residents?
Correct, yep. Because you're under contract, the village is under contract with the
Right.
city for fire protection, correct?
And we're required to be, right?
You're required to provide fire protection.
Yes.
It doesn't say with who. But you're under contract through 2040.
So, do you know what this referendum's gonna say?
I do not know what it's going to say. So the surveys are out till June 8th.
Okay.
We have not seen any results of the survey. We won't see anything until the council meeting on the 15th, Sam? 15th is when they will release to us the findings of the survey. Should they come back favorable, we would then move forward with drafting a question to be placed on the ballot in November. If they come back unfavorable, then we would take a step back and decide what the appropriate course would be and figure out why there wasn't support for something like that. So this could come to a screeching halt on the 15th, or it could continue to move forward.
So the referendum is basically gonna be saying, hey, we need to hire.
So what the referendum does is, because municipalities are bound by state law, by state statute, that they cannot increase their levy, tax levy, higher than Sam. You can probably explain it. Sam Hasu's here from our city finance. But basically what it says is you can't increase your tax levy more than what your net new construction is. So in the city last year, you can turn that on. Hang on one second. My fault. Yeah, our net new construction was 0.91%. And I think net new, that brought in $65,000 total in net new tax levy. So.
And you can't include Troy and
We
North
cannot.
Hudson?
We
You
cannot.
Okay.
No. So that's why it has to go to referendum. So the state says, if you're gonna increase taxes and if you wanna provide services or whatever you wanna do, right? This could be for, funding a public works project or whatever, right? Tax levy, you would have to, it has to go to the voters to vote on it. Referendum.
Right.
And that's, so we would craft a question that goes to the ballot that is either you're for or against a tax levy increase to provide, some form of full-time firefighting, moving forward. So, again, we're bound by state law and having to go to referendum.
Will the city be sending out to town, Troy and us, a letter about the referendum? So we can or cannot comment if we want?
No.
That was not,
You know what I'm saying about the comment thing that we just recently went through with the city? Where they wanted to comment on one of our building projects? Is this an item that we would be allowed to comment on as far as the city goes, since it impacts North Hudson?
Yeah, this referendum will be a city deal,
Okay,
basically. And, you know, the wording of the question is pretty particular as to how you have to do it, and they're gonna have to disclose how much the referendum's gonna be for, whether it's an actual dollar amount, or whether it's a percentage, whether it's permanent or temporary, all of that.
yeah.
But it's a city question, it's gonna be on a city
Right.
ballot.
Paul's right, and we have a firm that we've hired on to help with this. You have to be very careful how the question is worded. It can't be pro or nay, or,
right.
right? So this company does this, right?
Yeah.
So the city can't be a proponent of it and they can't be against it. They have to word the question that is neutral, that
Right.
allows the voter to vote on it, right? So, we would have to have that question into the state sometime in August to get approved to go on the November ballot. So, and again, the reason I'm doing, not me, the reason we're doing this is we've identified the fact that we have slowed response times, and it's not anybody's fault. It's not that we don't have dedicated members. It's not that people don't want to do this. The fact is, you take a holiday weekend, and I cannot tell you how many people are around, and it concerns me.
Right.
You talked about the 4th of July being on a Saturday this year. I will guarantee you there will be a lot of people out of town or out of commission that can't respond, right? And that weighs on me in the fact that I'm trying to provide the best service possible to the communities, and we're not, I don't think, meeting that expectation that the community deserves, the service they deserve to have with how we're set up. And again, it's not because our people don't want to. I don't know if you saw our Facebook post trying to explain the referendum, but we had a structure fire in the city Mother's Day weekend, and of our 49 members, only 8 of them were able to respond. That's a big deal, so we're not going to be getting rid of our paid-on-call firefighters. They're still going to supplement what we do. Our goal is to have 3 to 4 people on duty a day, 24/7. To be out the door in 90 seconds, well, you can shave these times in half by having people ready to go. About 50% of our calls only require 4 or 5 people anyways in one truck. This takes the burden off 49 members whose pager goes off almost 700 times a year. This weekend, we had 8 calls over the weekend. There was twice we had calls back to back. We were out on one call and received another one. Our staffing is getting stretched thin, and with everybody having families and cabins up north and everything, it's just people, they're just not around, right? It's just become difficult. So that's the reasoning.
Are you guys looking to cut the response times? Are you saying about half then?
Yeah, at least in half. Correct. Yep.
And then what does this look like financially for North Hudson? Let's say
Yep.
this was to get approved. What can we expect?
For sure. Sam can speak to the numbers.
I know.
We have a,
Sure, but there's
Yeah,
also.
You have,
just-
so these are the actual numbers here, and
They're on the website for anyone
we
watching.
can see it.
Yeah, we have them.
We
I just
have it.
wanted.
you have this, and I have it on the
Yes.
screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
For anyone watching, I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure they know that. You can go to our website and see some of these.
So, and Sam, stop me if I'm wrong in this. So we took a 10-year chunk, and we said, this is how much money we're gonna need to do this for 10 years. And the goal is that sometime in this 10 years, the city is going to find a way to find alternative funding, and we can hopefully sunset this, whether it becomes a sales tax, it becomes a tourism tax, whatever, right? The working avenue is to try to figure out a way to fund this differently than on the taxpayer, the local taxpayer. So we took a 10-year chunk. We didn't want to come back. We didn't want to do 3 years or 5 years and then say, oh yeah, hey, by the way, we need more money, we need more money. So we went out 10 years. We built in a 5% increase every year for healthcare costs, raises, just inflation in general, right? So the first couple years, we're probably going to be in surplus. But this money that's passed in referendum can only be used for fire department staffing. It cannot be used for any other projects within the city. So that money gets banked. So as we move forward, as we need more money, we reach back and pull that money ahead to not have to continually come back to the taxpayer and say, we need more money, we need more money. So we're projecting out 10 years, this is the cost of the project.
Okay.
And clarification, is the survey and are the projections that you're talking about with the 1.5 or the 1.8 million dollar option that were in the report?
So that was the preliminary report. Once we got into the nuts and bolts of everything, the one thing that I think was missed was we calculated off what a 40-hour work week is. Firefighters work a 56-hour work week, how it's spread out, so that the total needed is more than what was in the report. So we had to figure in,
The total FTEs?
no, the total amount needed per year.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little more, so it's, Sam is, what is it, about? 2.16. 2.16 is
that
what's
for the-
needed,
Is that with the 12 FTEs?
correct. It's actually 13. It'll be paying for our assistant chief as well,
Right.
that we just hired.
Okay.
Yep.
And you said that'll cut the response time in half, but it still won't get it to the national standard, is that correct?
Correct, because ideally you would have a fire station in every community that would have full-time staff to get you that national standard. So this is the next best thing.
So you're saying we'd have a fire truck and Troy would have a fire truck and the town have a fire truck?
Right. So to meet that national standard, you have to have a fire station. Right. So you figure out on a map, you run your GIS, you say, oh, this is where one should be, this is one should be, this is one should be based on drive times. Ideally, you would have a fire station up here with a fire truck and people in it every day, 24/7, and that would give you your less than 4-minute response time. That's not financially feasible to be able to do that. This is the next best thing. Is it going to get us to the national standard of 4 minutes? It's not, but it cuts the time in half and provides consistent 24/7 protection.
And for how long, I didn't see a projection like into the future, like how long is this option of 13 FTEs going to keep that response time in half of the current? You said it would be in half of the current response time for like
It
5
should-
years, 10 years?
Well, it should be in perpetuity. You know, it should, as long as there's staff that can respond in 90 seconds, it should cut everything. It should never change
So the 13 staff is all that's needed for the foreseeable future.
for the foreseeable future. Correct. Yep. I don't anticipate, again, if the city continues hypothetically, were to expand, or say the town of Hudson or the town of Troy or whoever puts a huge development in, right, and there becomes a demand for service, then we would probably look to those communities to put a fire station in and staff it, depending on demands, right? I don't see that happening. I don't see the need for that in the near or distant future. But Lake Elmo, I'll use them as an example. And in my report that you reference, all the departments that we use as comparables don't provide EMS. They're not the ambulance provider. They have another service that they support. So we use Stillwater, Lake Elmo, Rice Lake, Onalaska. They're comparable sized cities, comparable sized districts that don't provide EMS. So Lake Elmo is one of our comparables. They are running out of one station, and because Lake Elmo is exploding right now, they are already projecting to build a second station. They have land acquired, and they have a target date to build another station and hire more people. But again, we're kind of landlocked and everything around here, so I don't see the need in the future to continue to expand full-time staff. It would be ideal, like what the town of Troy is doing, and putting up a facility. We're hiring volunteers to augment down there. That I think is a realistic option, is to have more volunteer staff. But that core group of people that can get there within 4 to 7 minutes is really the key to being successful.
Do you know what their investment is and how that affects this piece?
So their investment for that project is $3.5 or $4 million total to buy the trucks, put up the station, and then hire and equip firefighters. In 2027, we're taking over an additional portion of the town of Troy. So their percentage of what they owe in on our budget increases and actually drops what the city, the village, and the town of Hudson owe in relation. It's not a lot, right? But we're going from about 1/3 of the town of Troy to almost 96% of it is what we'll cover. River Falls will cover about 4%. So that, in relation, they will owe more money into the pool.
Because the pool is based on the total value of the property.
Equalized value, correct, yep. Yep. So,
Quit moving down towards River Falls, dude. Tell Rich I said that.
so
Like he gets to decide. Hey, Rich, I was talking to one of the board members.
and again, I don't take this lightly. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't identify that there's a problem, right? I identify there's a problem. I say, look, here's a solution to the problem. The worst thing that would happen is if I ignored this and something bad happened, and then you would come to me and say, did you know there was a shortfall? And I would say yes. And the next question would be, why did you do something about it, right? So I want to get ahead of it. I want to get the appropriate funding. I think it's a reasonable amount of funding for the amount of people we're looking to hire. It's never a good time to come to taxpayer. It just never is. I totally understand that. But I think the system that we have is working. At some point it's going to fail. I will tell you that the company that we've used for referendum to help do this referendum push said in the last 5 years in the state of Wisconsin there's been 75 public safety referendums because all the community's hands are tied based on being able to address it through taxes. So if that tells you anything, there's been 75 public safety referendums in the state.
Common problem is what you're telling us, that
Yep.
there isn't sufficient levy limit to meet the public safety need.
Correct. Yep. And we're all fighting for the same dollar. Yep. So I just want to, answer the questions. I know they're out there. It's not that we're ignoring anybody. It's not that we don't take everybody's concerns to heart. It was just decided at our fire board that the city would take the lead on this. If they, as a rate or as a taxpayer, approved it, being it's the city's fire department, and if they said yes, this is something we want to move forward with, then we would move forward with it. So I'm more than happy to come back to any meeting you guys have, provide any more information that you want. We'll keep you up to date as things go. The 15th is going to be key with those survey results that come back. If they come back favorable, I think we'll continue forward. If they don't come back favorable, then I guess we'll reevaluate.
Will we know either way? I mean, how will we know?
It'll be public.
Okay.
Yep. So if you watch the council meeting, which I don't recommend, but if you want to, you can. Otherwise, I can send information to Jean as well. She can disseminate it to you guys as well. So.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I would forward that to her. Would be great for us.
Yep, absolutely. We'll
Thank you.
definitely keep everybody in the loop,
Yeah.
for sure. We want to be as transparent, as open as possible on it. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Oh, good luck.
Thank you.
Chief?
Thank you.
While Chief's wrapping up, I'll just mention too that last week we went to put our swim buoys in the river. We don't have a boat, and we were going to need to rent a boat in order to get the buoys in. And we called Chief, and they were happy to help and brought their boat and helped put the swim buoys in for Browns Beach for us. So it saved us from having to rent a boat, and
Thank
we
you.
appreciate even just the little partnership and teamwork like that. It's awesome, so.
Yeah, we like to help, and honestly, the village is very good to work with. We're very happy with our relationship, so.
Thanks, Drew.
Next.
Okay.
Yeah, he broke it for you, trying to sabotage you because you gave us these.
Item 7 is 2025 Lakeview EMS Annual Update discussion only.
Once again, all of this information is on our website.
Was it doing the flashy thing again? Nope.
Oh, thanks, Brian.
I was just, well, thank you. Thanks for asking me to be here tonight. I appreciate the interest in what we are doing at Lakeview EMS. I have a few updates. I think, first of all, if it's okay with the board, I would like to introduce one of our newest supervisors, if I can have Matt come up to the podium, and I'll have Matt introduce himself. We have added 2 additional operation supervisors. So prior to May 9th, we've only been operating with myself and then one EMS operation supervisor. We have a staff right now of 60 employees, and Nick is our operation supervisor, and Nick is responsible for all those performance evals, let alone all the other things that we have going on. So we needed to add to that. So Matt is one of 2 additional people that we've added on to our operation. They officially started on May 9th, so we kind of have them still in training, doing a lot of things, but eventually you will see more of activity of that supervisor out on the road and responding to more calls than Nick and I can get to today. But I'll have Mac introduce yourself and.
Yeah, my name is Matt Lundquist. I've been with Lakeview for 21 years, mostly as a paramedic and a critical care paramedic. I also get the cool role of getting to work with the SWAT team over there as a tactical medic, so that's kind of a neat thing too. I'm really excited to get to be a new operations supervisor. I'm really excited about what that means for our service. I've watched a lot of people in Nick's role kind of drown under the weight of all the communication, and I'm sure we can help field some of the stuff that John's forced to deal with too. So that's our goal, is to help our whole department just work as smooth and good as possible. If you guys have any questions for me, you're more than welcome to ask them, but it's a pleasure to get to be here and see your guys' faces.
Thanks, Matt. Sorry to put you on the spot, but you did really good. So I just want to talk to you about our 2025 data. There's really nothing out of the abnormal with the data. I like to compare last year to the current year that we're talking about. So in my data, that's what you're going to see is the comparison from 2024 and 2025. So in 2025, we had 152 calls. In 2024, we had 173. Again, we're just talking about the village. Of those 152 calls, 112 of them were considered response lights and sirens. That is dictated by the St. Croix County dispatch. When they receive the 911 call, they code the call and they give us a code on how we respond. So if the code is to go routine, we go routine. The paramedics can override that, and they will just let our dispatch know that, we're going to go lights and sirens till we hear different, and that's usually based on the call. When we evaluate our response times, we're only looking at those lights and siren responses. Sorry, I got to get to the mic. So we only evaluate the emergent responses that we responded lights and sirens. So in 2025, there was 40 calls that did not require lights and sirens in the village. We had an overall response time of 8 minutes and 23 seconds. For mutual aid in the village in 2025, we did not have any mutual aid calls, meaning we did not request anyone else to come into the village because we did not have resources available. This is just a breakdown of the details of all the calls. There's not a lot of difference here with this. I'll just talk about, so when we respond to a call, the paramedics will do an evaluation of the patient and determine if the patient needs to go to the hospital or if they want to go to the hospital. Our intent as paramedics is to do what's right for the patient and to also be respectful of the healthcare system. And the knowledge the paramedics have, they know if someone needs to go to the hospital or not, and they can give them an informed decision obviously it's up to the patient to make that final decision, but, so when we don't transport everyone that we go and evaluate. A lot of times we don't transport them. So those are some numbers that you see as well. The units that responded, the reason that we put that in there is in our operation over here in Hudson, we have 2 ambulances 24 hours a day. Those 2 ambulances are 806 and 807. So it doesn't matter what ambulance we park in that space. If they're stationed there, that's going to be, their call sign is 806 or 807. What that does for me and for you, when I show you the data, it shows you where the majority of our ambulances are coming out of. Meaning, when both of our Hudson ambulances are out on calls and a third ambulance or a third call comes in, that's going to come out of our Stillwater base. Or they're going to be over here covering the area. So when the 2 Hudson ambulances are assigned to a call, one of our Stillwater trucks moves over here. So our operation is constantly moving around. So we have trucks moving up and down Highway 95, up and down Highway 36 all day long. So I put this data in there so that people can see that the majority of our calls that we respond to are coming out of our Hudson operation. Not that it matters here in the village, because sometimes, if you're north of the village hall here, a Stillwater truck might be able to get here a little bit quicker than the Hudson truck during certain times of the day. So that's just that breakdown there.
Is 805 Stillwater?
805 is Stillwater. Yeah. 802 is North. 805, 804 is Stillwater. And 802 is North St. Paul. So the North St. Paul truck could be here on calls. Very unlikely that the North St. Paul truck is going to respond from North St. Paul here. But they could be at Lakeview Hospital dropping a patient off. When they clear the hospital, they might get assigned to cover Hudson. So you never know which truck will be there. Our dispatch center has the ability, they see all of our trucks on their CAD system, and when a call comes in and it plots on the map, it automatically tells them which ambulance is closer. So even if it's a Stillwater truck or on the other side of the river, based on current traffic and what's happening, they might be the quickest ambulance to that call. Okay, try this. You're not seeing that. So we had, in 2025, we had 151 911 calls. Obviously, there's no interfacility transfers that occur here in the village. And we had 6 special event coverage. Special event coverage is anything from, the 5K race for the Pepperfest or covering at Pepperfest. So we had 6 of those types of events. Treated and transported, there was 90 patients that were transported from the calls that we did here in the village. There were 7 that were evaluated with no transport. There were 39 patients that actually refused care against medical advice. Again, the patient has the right to do that. There were 10 times that we were started and then we were canceled. There was 3 public assists, and then there was 2 fire-type standbys or law enforcement standbys, separate from a special event-type standby.
What's a public assist?
Public assist is someone falls, they don't have any medical problems, they didn't get hurt, they just need help getting up, getting
Somebody
put
help
back
them.
in their chair or the bed. A lot of times that law enforcement will provide that service, but a lot of times the dispatch center doesn't know, so they'll start the ambulance and
Okay.
It's just a public assist, there's no bill that's generated with the patient. This is just a breakdown of the hospital. So of the calls that we did in the village, 60 times they were not transported. And then the rest, I won't go through all these. It just shows you what hospital the patients were transported to. Again, only really a third of our patients go back to Lakeview Hospital. We transport the patient to the hospital of their choice unless the paramedics deem it necessary for them to go to a specific facility. The next sheet here is the breakdown of the different 911 calls. I'm not going to go through each of those. You guys have a copy of that data. And then here, this is a breakdown of the calls that we did in 2025 for the Hudson service area. When I refer to the Hudson service area, that's the city of Hudson, the village of North Hudson, Troy, Warren, town of Hudson. Did I get them all? Anyways, that is what I refer to our Hudson service area. So our two trucks primarily cover that Hudson service area over here. So the calls that we did in 2025 increased a little bit. We did 2,199 calls. Transfers out of the hospital, that's in addition to the calls we do. So in 2025, we did 841 transfers out of Hudson Hospital to somewhere else. We had an overall response in the entire service area, 4 minutes and 50 seconds. In that entire service area for 2025, we had 8 mutual aid calls. And then we provided 151 mutual aid calls to other services. And again, that's just our operation out of Hudson. So our 2 Hudson trucks went 151 times somewhere else. A lot of that number, if you look at 2024 and there's 382, a lot of that has to do with the hospital interfacility, and we did a lot of stuff in 2024 out of River Falls. They were having some staffing issues, and we were their backup. So obviously they got that fixed in 2025, so that those numbers went down. But here's a breakdown of our entire service area for 2025. We did 13,018 calls in 2025. 10,629 were 911 calls. 2,389 were interfacility, and 889 were mutual aid calls that we responded to. So again, we do a ton of mutual aid. That's sending an ambulance into another community because they don't have an ambulance available to respond. Public safety standby events in the whole service area, we did 166 of those. Special events, 68. I think that number is light. We don't have a good tracking mechanism. We average about 100 to 110 special events that we bring an ambulance to a special event throughout the year. So, and then mutual aid that we requested when we needed help from another service, that was 39 times in 2025. The top 10 hospitals that we transported patients to are here. I'm not going to go through them. Again, you have that on your data. And then here's just a look at our 10-year call volume. And each year, like Drew said, for his operation, the call volumes keep going up. This year, other than February, or other than March, we've had record volume months. So in May was the first time we went over 1,200 calls in a month. So we did 1,227 calls in May. So our run volumes are continually increasing. We are currently fully staffed. We've been fortunate enough to be fully staffed, I think, for well over a year. We did some hiring back in February, January, February, for some casual part-time employees. knowing that our summers get so busy, we wanted to kind of ramp up our staffing ability, maybe reduce some of the overtime that we put in. And then part of that ask, I had asked if we could add I wanted to add 2 more full-time staff into our operation. I'd like to put another truck on during the day. Our peak time hits us about 10 o'clock in the morning till about 7 o'clock at night. We spike, and we've been seeing that for 10 years. And we have the appropriate coverage. So at our peak coverage point, we have 6 ambulances on the road. That peak time for us, where we have 6, is from 3 in the afternoon till 11 at night. After 11 at night, we're down to 5 trucks, and then 7 to 3, we're at 5 trucks. My ask, by adding 2 additional full-time, I can put another truck on 8 hours of the day, not 7 days a week, but it will give us a buffer. And that buffer will reduce our mutual aid calls, which our mutual aid calls that we're asking for help is very respectable. You look at the Woodburys and Cottage Groves, they're in the hundreds of mutual aid calls. We've been there, but ever since we've moved in over here on this side of the river, we less than 1% of our total call volume has been from mutual aid. So we're very fortunate of that. When we did hiring in February, we had 2 open casual positions, and we got 35 applicants. And all 35 people that applied were applying because at some point they wanted full-time. And they knew to get their way in was through that casual position. So we were very fortunate to be in that situation. So ambulances, our ambulance fleet, we've been replacing them for the last 2 years. I think you guys have heard me before. We still can't get an ambulance in less than 3 years. So we order an ambulance, we know we'll take delivery in 3 years. It's kind of crazy, but it's been a mess. To get an ambulance rebuilt, a rebuilt ambulance, the way we do it, is essentially a brand new ambulance when we get it back. Those were taken 3 years. There's been another company that has worked on fire trucks for a long time. They hadn't done a lot of ambulance rebuilds, but they got into that business because there's a huge market for it. They bought a company out in Michigan. They can do 11 ambulance remounts in that facility. That takes about four months to get done. So we've had 2 rebuilds in the last year that we took delivery on. We had 2 new trucks in the last year and a half. We have 2 that are at the factory being built that we won't take delivery till next year. So our fleet is really good. But in the past 3 weeks, we were down. We had all of our trucks in the shop. Not all of our trucks. We have 10 trucks, but we had all of our spare trucks were in service, and everything was in the shop. We had 4 trucks that all had warranty type major failures, engine failures, transmission failures. These are on trucks with less than 100,000 miles on it. So my comfort level of having all these new trucks was soon destroyed. It's unfortunate, but that's the thing that kind of keeps me awake at night is, just I don't know how we can keep up with the demand and the way that we can't get vehicles when we need them. So with that, is there any questions?
I guess just a comment that I have is that, we worked hard to put this partnership together a few
Right.
years back.
Yes, we did.
And I think it's worked out fabulously for everybody that's been involved.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. It's been great. Yeah, I think it's one of the best things. I know we worked 3 years to get this accomplished, and there was a lot of people out there that didn't believe we were going to deliver on what we were promising, and I think we've proved that we were honest about what we were presenting, so, thank you.
Did dispatch ever get their software installed?
That's a really sore subject. They did not.
Okay.
So we,
You're still working on it?
yeah, unfortunately, so what Brian's talking about is the CAD to CAD interface that we were hoping we could have done years ago. It's very expensive. The city of Hudson actually paid for that to be done. They paid for it, was it 3-4 years ago, I think? And it's still not done. The sheriff's department is working with us. They're the ones, holding them, holding their feet to the coals on it, but it's been a struggle. So what the CAD to CAD interface does, so we contract with a line of transportation to do our dispatching for us. The reason that we do that is they have a very state-of-the-art dispatch center, and they can manage our fleet 24/7, 365, and they're very good at what they do. That's all they do is EMS. They're very good at it. So we pay a lot of money for that, but it's worth what we pay in the service that we get out of it. The downside to that is that the local PSAP, the local 911 center, has to make a phone call into our dispatch center to give them that information. The technology that our dispatch center has and the county is to the point where if somebody makes a mistake, meaning on the phone they give a wrong address, while our dispatcher's typing it in, if it's in the village here and it's 123 St. Croix Street, and there's no such thing, it flags it instantly. And our dispatcher will say to the St. Croix County dispatcher, are you sure that's not coming up as a valid address? So the technology is great, but it takes someone away from the dispatch center that's doing other things to make that phone call. And phone calls are difficult because you want to have that, hey, how's it going? Hey, this is St. Croix County. CAD to CAD interface, when the call comes in St. Croix County and they go through their initial questions and they determine that this is a medical, they hit a button and it instantly shows up at our dispatch center. On the screen, they see all of the information that St. Croix has already got, and then they do their process. So our dispatch center, their goal is to dispatch an ambulance within 30 seconds of the time they receive the call. And they do that. They do that very well. They average 15 seconds. That doesn't mean they have all the information. As soon as they get a city and what the type of incident is, the tone goes out to our crews. So that, it gets them moving, it gets them moving towards the ambulance. Once they get in the ambulance and turn it on, everything comes up on their screen and they know what they're going to. So the CAD to CAD interface would just, streamline everything.
What do you think that's costing a minute?
I'm sorry?
How much time do you think that's affecting it? 30 seconds, a minute for that phone call?
Oh, well.
I know
could
that's
be
hard.
more. It could be more because it's, again, if St. Croix County is really busy, not knocking St. Croix County, but they got a lot of calls coming into their center and they're tied up, every minute they wait to call our dispatch center is time it takes us longer to get there. So,
And it's nothing personal with them. It's just
Yeah,
the two
no.
systems we're dealing with and trying to get them hooked up together.
yeah.
Are there any other facilities in the state of Wisconsin that are looking at you guys? Are you doing any presentations for any other towns around here?
We are not actively searching more geography, if that makes any sense. We were not looking for more things to take on when we took on Hudson. There was a need.
Yeah.
There was a need. Our healthcare facilities in this community. We're in New Richmond, Amory. That was the reason we wanted to be there for our patients, and there was a need for it. So,
Sense.
yeah, we're not seeking anything else. We're very comfortable with where we're at right now today, and we want to just continue that. that's not to say if something happens, you know, we were never looking to go into Marine on the St. Croix, but when their volunteer ambulance service decided, we're not gonna do this anymore, someone's gotta do it, and we then ended up doing it, so. That's not to say those things don't happen, but.
Mary, you look like you had a good question.
Yeah, just a couple. Thank you for all the information. It's very helpful. Looking at the response times and thinking kind of how we were evaluating our fire response times.
Yeah.
Is there an average response time that you're looking for, or that your goal is, or that's a national standard?
Yeah, well, so we're always under the national average for response time. But as you go further away from your base, you know, your response times are gonna lengthen. So we've always been around that 6-minute average response time. Averages are not really used as a national data collection. It's the fractile. It's the 90th percentile. So when we were negotiating contracts, the city of Hudson said, well, we want a 90%, we want to hold you to a 90% response time. And we said, we can do that in the city. But then some of the townships said, well, we want that too. And you don't do that. I mean, you can't hold us to an 8-minute response time 90% of the time when you're 10 or 12 miles away. So that's where a lot of people don't understand that. So, you know, here an 8-minute response time is pretty good. That's an average. So we obviously have times it takes longer, and but still the national average is 10 minutes.
Okay.
So
Thank
in Hennepin County, it is a ordinance that the ambulance meets the 10-minute response time. So your community's
We're
doing
doing
better than
great.
them.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So, related to that question, are you planning to move your base from where you're at with the hospital in Stillwater moving? Does that affect you at all?
That's a great question, and I wish I could give you an answer to that. So, originally the plan was we're leasing that building that we're in today on Highway 36. We had an 18-month lease on that building, and then we were going to build out on the new property, the new campus of the new hospital. I did not want to do that. To me, it was just a little too far out. It doesn't have great access, and end of the story was that's what we're going to do. Well, then we started meeting with the community, and we met with a lot of community groups. They had a lot of questions, a lot of concerns. You know, we're a high volume service, and people see that, and they knew that, and they did not want to have an ambulance out there, housed out there, that would be leaving on calls. So after that first community meeting we had, then I was no longer on the campus out there. So then that leaves us to where we're at today. So we extended our lease for 7 years to time it with the new hospital build out, with the option to buy out of that lease in 5 years. I don't know what we're going to do. I have a feeling we're going to work on staying there to take over that building. So that is way, way above my pay grade. Health Partners has their own division that deals with all that kind of stuff. So I trust that they're doing the right thing, and that's all in the works right now. But for us, it's perfect. We couldn't have found a better location. You know, we can sometimes, you know, Hudson has a lot of calls that are back to back. And a lot of times it's 3 and 4 calls at the same time. So sometimes our 2 trucks in Hudson get called out before the crew can get in a truck and start heading over here. A 3rd call comes in. We can respond from our base to the city, within the city proper of Hudson, within 8 minutes. So that's pretty good. I mean, we don't like to do that. We'd rather be over here, but it's just, it's a great location. So hopefully we can maintain that and stay there. There's some things, unfortunately, that if we do stay there beyond our lease, we were grandfathered in by the fire marshal to be in that building that's not sprinkled. We're in there 24 hours a day. Our crews live in there. So we were grandfathered in there. But if we go beyond the lease, we have to sprinkle the building, bring it up to the full code of today. That building was built in 65. It's not, we put a lot of money into it. It's not worth putting more into it. But if we have to, we're going to do that, so.
It's
Yeah,
a nice
great
location
question.
for the village too, for that backup response.
Yeah, right.
Any other questions for John? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
And I'd like to say thank you to Lakeview, because I've been, I'm one of those data points on some of that stuff that you show on there, and I've had nothing but a great experience with the Lakeview medics.
Thank you, Stan. Appreciate it. And I'm glad to see you're doing good. All right, thanks.
Day. Day at a time.
One day at a time.
All righty. On to number 8. 2026-2027 Class AB alcohol beverage licenses, cigarette licenses, and amusement permits renewals approval requested.
Stan, I move to approve with the exception of El Loro, and I will deal with that in a separate motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Dusty. Comments, questions?
So everyone's passed their inspections, everything's as it should be.
Except for El Oro, which is why we're going to motion that separately.
Okay. Poke him again. Okay, any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of renewing the approvals for the licenses and the permit for amusements, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, unanimous. And Ryan,
So on this one, Stan, I move to approve the Class B fermented malt beverages and Class B intoxicating liquor license with an effective date of July 1, 2026 through June 30, 2027 for El Oro of Hudson, Inc., DBA El Oro Mexican Restaurant, Alvaro Barash Prado, agent, with an effective date of July 1, 2026 through June 30, 2027, as recommended by the village clerk. All license approvals are contingent upon any outstanding payment obligations to the village being satisfied, delinquent payments to wholesaler satisfied, finalized AB-100 and AB-101 forms properly completed, and passed health inspection for current year.
thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Nick. Any comments or questions?
So
There was just some extra things for them that were on theirs that wasn't on everybody else's, so we thought, I asked Paul, and we thought we should pull that one out and do that one separately.
So often we get those reports with this, like what are the barriers or concerns? And I didn't know we checked delinquent payments to wholesalers.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I did.
And that's a big one under state law. And apparently, I'm told they're a little bit behind. So under state law, you can't issue them a license until they're current with their wholesalers.
And then what's the AB 100 and AB 101 forms?
Those are both state forms, and we're just missing a few things. Stephanie has done a fantastic job trying to work with and be really clear on what we need in each section. As the municipality, we're not allowed to just say, oh, hey, you missed this box, we'll check it for you. So even the smallest little checks missing here, or signatures or initials, we have to call them back in. And they have come in twice, but there's still a few things that just still aren't quite ticked and tied on those forms. And then the health inspection, as stated, we received a health inspection, but it was not for the current year. And we have made sure we need a current year health inspection. And again, that is a state requirement and an ordinance requirement that we have a health inspection that complements the beverage inspection.
And that comes through the county? Is that?
The county does it, and then in this case, Laurel is responsible for providing it to us, and we have not seen that yet. So one of the reasons we could call this out separate is that, and they are aware that tonight is our last board meeting before July 1st. You could approve it with these conditions, and if by July 1st these conditions are met, we can go ahead and proceed with providing them with their license. Or you could say it's not here when we're making the decision and we want to wait till July 7th, and they would be without a liquor license for 6 days. So those are your
So
decisions.
the motion is assuming that they're going to make things right by July 1st.
It's an approval contingent upon
Yes.
those things being done.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, let's vote to approve the El Loro with the stipulations. All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, next is 2026, 2027 Class B beer license reserve and Perrin Class B liquor license and amusement permit for North Hudson Investments, Inc., doing business as North Hudson Tavern. Approval requested.
Dan, I move to approve that contingent on the Village of North Hudson receiving documentation of the following: a seller's permit, a past health inspection, a past fire inspection.
Second.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, Stan.
Thanks, Kirk. Discussion?
Definitely that last one, fire extension.
Huh?
Definitely that last one, the fire extension. Get it?
Yeah, I do. Any other comments or questions?
And I'll say, and you're welcome to ask questions. This is the owner of what will be the newest establishment. But in this particular case, they're just not in the building yet. So the goal is still in that August timeframe, correct, to open doors or sooner? I know, maybe have you as I ask you questions.
Up here.
Okay, yep, I'll talk.
State your
So-
name.
Yep,
Yeah, tell us who you are.
yeah.
How we doing? Christopher Duth. I'm one of the owners of hopefully the North Hudson Tavern here. We're working on 3 different plans right now, so we're hoping to pick one this week still, and then as soon as we get that, our contractors can get going. So hopefully soon you'll start seeing some movement over there. And yes, all those inspections they're on our list too,
So they're the opposite, they're actually ahead of schedule, and so because they're not in yet the building, they obviously can't have these inspections, and so, since they had provided the application, everything so early, we thought we'd put it to you guys to see if you wanted to do a contingent, or if you wanted them to come back in July, certainly that would be an option as well.
So then the approval would go back to July 1st, or, because that's what the motion is, that it would be July 1st to June 30th, but what I'm hearing is the contingencies probably won't be met till,
yeah, I
well
mean,
after
till
that.
after that, yeah, it's
Our liquor license officially starts on that July 1st, but you're right, it would be effective when they meet the conditions and that permit is issued, yeah.
And
So it
then
probably could be rewritten.
We're putting them in the rotation with everybody else,
Yeah,
basically.
and then they'd be in the rotation, yep,
I
correct.
just, yeah, so
We
the,
could clarify that.
it's appropriate that we can pass it even though there's no intention to actually have it by July 1st. Right?
Maybe,
It'll be issued when they meet the inspection. It'll be effective when it's issued.
When do you hope to have everything up and running then?
Yeah. So our contractor said he thought, one of the 3 plans is adding 8 feet to the south side of the building, which I think we're in favor of. So it might be a little longer, but he thought he could get everything done within 90 days. He moves quick. He did our place in Lake Elmo and did a great job. But and then obviously once that, we got to get all the equipment in there, and we'll be using our other locations for training, and so we can really, once we get all the equipment and point of sale up, we can hit the ground running. So we're anxious to get going on this. So I think once we get the plans approved and permits, you'll start seeing things move pretty quick over there.
Will you have any parking issues with so you have parking on that south side right now, right?
Yes.
Parking lines?
Yep. And then Gary, who I don't know, does he go by a first name basis?
Yep. Yes, we do.
Mr. Zappa.
I'm out with him. Everybody knows who he is. But so yeah, and Gary, we're also leasing the land behind it,
Okay.
and he's going to be moving all that stuff we've been told to. So
So they'll put
he's asked me 3 times if I want any of that equipment.
So you'll be putting additional parking behind to cover the space?
Yeah, I think we'll still have a little bit of parking on the side, but, he also, even though it's not part of us, said we can use a little bit of parking off to the north. But yes, I think we'll be using that for parking.
I mean, it's like 4 spots.
Well, I never understood how the parking between the laundromat and that restaurant ever worked. I mean, I don't know do we have to have specific number of, handicap for both places, or is handicap for one? And I just never understood that whole site.
Each one wouldn't need its own handicap spot, but it's, if a strip center situation, you need one, so many feet, basically.
Yeah, it's just like any other strip mall that's
Okay.
renting out 2 different places or selling them.
Yeah, but the requirement of parking spaces for them versus a laundromat are not the same, right?
No.
Okay.
You said you have the Lake Elmo?
We've had that issue at Lake Elmo too. So I've had ladies come in and yell at me that there's not enough, or they're not in the right spot, and I don't have anything to do with that. That would be the city, but yeah, that would be up to you. I think you guys is.
Yeah, you said because you
Dusty?
have the Lake Elmo one, and then where's your other location?
So yeah, we have Lakewood Tavern in Lake Elmo, Boulevard Tavern in West St. Paul, and Trail Stop Tavern in Eagan, Minnesota. All those in Minnesota. So
Will you have a similar menu to Lakewood?
yes, it'll be, Lakewood's about 5,800 square feet. North Hudson Tavern would be roughly around 3,400. So
As
it'd be a
far as
little
the
bit
menu
smaller,
goes,
but
about
as
the
far as
same?
menu, yes. We have about 55 items on that menu. With the smaller, we won't probably be able to do 55, maybe 35, I think is what we're hoping. We probably won't do pizzas, but it'll be burgers, sandwiches, salads, We're a high energy, we don't like to say sports bars, but TVs are a big part of what we do. You're not gonna be able to sit anywhere and not see what's on TV. We're neighborhood, and on purpose put ourselves in neighborhoods because that's kind of what we like to do. What else is about us? But yeah, our first one opened in 2006. And we just passed 3 years over at Lake Elmo, so.
Anybody else got anything? Thank you,
Yeah, thank you guys.
and we wish you much success.
Appreciate it.
You did drop something.
Oh, a
We got
chapstick.
chapstick.
We can vote.
Yeah, we got to vote.
Vote on it before we wish them luck.
What's that?
We should vote on it before we wish them luck.
Well,
I would wait a sec.
I was hearing all the positive
yes.
vibes. Okay, everybody, let's vote on the Class B beer license, Reserve Class B liquor license, and the amusement permit for North Hudson Investment, Inc., doing business as the North Hudson Tavern. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, best of luck.
No, good luck. Me too.
All right. Item 10, resolution of 2026-03, Department of Natural Resources review of the compliance maintenance annual report, CMAR, approved.
Move to approve.
Second.
And thank you. Is there any comments or questions? This is
I will
an
just,
annual
yeah,
report.
annual report, this, our understanding and talking to the city and the DNR is this will be our last year completing this. We only completed it because we did own the sewer and water infrastructure through December, officially January 1st. So this should be our last one that we complete. And then the only thing I just, again, will point out, it's always scary, it was last year too, to see that negative 95,000. Again, we have two different sewer accounts. One has a negative 95,000, and that was the 201. We do have the 210 still, which is a positive 519,000. So it's misleading, this report, it's requiring off of that 201. We still have, if we include the two sewers and the water, we still have that 612,000 or 614,000 in reserves, which is what we'll use over the next 10 plus years to continue to make the payment on the bond for the water for the 35 project. So that 600,000 is what we have in sewer water. Again, we're not getting any more in, but we're also not having any more expenses out of it. It's simply just the reserves to continue to make that bond payment. So don't let that number completely scare you. It's valid, but it's not the whole picture.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the CMAR, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item 11, Resolution 2026-04, authorizing the lowering of the village flag during normal business hours, discussing possible action. Is there,
Move to approve.
thanks, Brian. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Gina, you want to give a quick?
Just a quick overview. We often get from either, well, mostly from the governor, executive orders to lower the flags, and sometimes those come in that they want it to be done at sunrise to sunset on, for example, Sunday, May 3rd, 2026, for respect for the firefighters of Wisconsin that have given their life. We absolutely want to support it. What this resolution is asking is, instead of paying one of our on-call people to come in on that day and lower it in the morning and raise it again in the evening on that Sunday, this resolution is saying that we, whenever we get these orders, we'll do it at end of day Friday, and we will raise it back to full at Monday morning instead of paying an on-call staff person to come in on that Sunday. We just don't have the staff for it, so that's what the request is.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor of authorizing Resolution 2026-04, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Claims kick on.
Plan Commission recommendations, chair update. Paul, you got anything?
Well, I wasn't there, but I understand there was a quorum. They opened up the meeting, but there was only 4 people, and they didn't feel comfortable proceeding with the items on the agenda, so they didn't take any action, waiting for more people to come to the next meeting.
Thank you, Paul. Item 13, Personnel Finance Committee recommendations, claims approval requested.
Stan, can I please move to approve the board of the June 2026 non-recurring claims of $205,175.94?
Thank you, Kirk. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dusty. Any comments or questions?
Anything out of the ordinary?
not out of the ordinary, but I'll note that majority of the costs this year, or close to 100, or this month, close to 180,000 were related to the new playground equipment going in at Chief Jansen. And again, it's the installation, the actual equipment itself, and then some of our costs that we ended up needing to rent some additional equipment to remove the old playground. But very much in budget, very much still on time and on track, and we're super excited about the addition to that playground. So that's the majority of the cost.
Thank you, Gina. Anything else from anybody? Hearing nothing. We'll start with Mary.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. That's unanimous. Item B is request for funding to address oak wilt management in the village, discussion and possible action.
Stan, I move to recommend approval of the funding of $12,000 from unassigned account for oak wilt management within the village of North Hudson, including removal, disposal, and related mitigation activities as recommended by qualified forestry professional.
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Dusty. Is there any comments or questions about the funding of an oak, to address the oak wilt?
Yeah, so this is above and beyond what our normal operating budget is for removal of trees. As Matt met this spring with the forester that we use to help with the assessment, they noted that there are 7 mature trees in Woodcrest Park that he deemed as hazardous, dead oak in the east right-of-way over private property, and that in itself, just to address those 7 trees, would take up our entire operating budget. And so what we're asking is if you would like to have that funded above and beyond our operating budget, we could still continue to use the operating budget for some of the oaks and some of the ash trees that were also identified in the Riverside Drive area, as well as Chief Jansen Park. The 12,000 then would be dedicated to the Woodcrest Park and those oaks that are up in that area. So without it, we'll just have to make a decision about where the highest risk stands and use our operating budget. The hope is we can get 12,000, address those Woodcrest Park, and still take on some of these other items that were also, or other trees that were also identified.
I would recommend before next budget season that we identify the potential amount of money we're going to be facing on oak wilt. Village money. Because it's not, some of these oaks that we've got in this village are huge.
It's a great call.
I'm seeing them go all over the place now.
I agree.
So next budget session, I'm saying if we could get from the forester what he anticipates, because the mitigation thing they're talking about, injecting trees, doesn't really work very well. The best solution is to start clearing them. I'm just saying we should identify how many of these things we potentially will be facing and try and budget accordingly.
So that we don't have this again.
Yeah,
This is strictly on our property.
right. I don't know if we want to say anything to village residents. I mean, because if their property is connected to our property and they got oak wilt, they're going to be infecting our trees. I don't know how you deal with something like it's
We
like
could
that.
definitely educate. I think
Well,
that's a great
yeah.
idea.
Yeah,
Because we spent so much time on EAB, and I think everyone was so focused on that oak wilt kind of snuck up on all of us. I don't know, at least me.
oh, didn't sneak up on me. I had Matt testing the oak trees right behind me 2 years ago. Sent the samples down to Madison. Madison said they didn't think it was oak wilt. Called Madison, and Madison has definitely said it is moving through St. Croix County 2 years ago.
Well, it's definitely an issue.
Mary, were you say something?
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, that's a money thing, so Brian?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Unanimous, thank you. And item C, review and update the village fee schedule, discussing possible action.
Stan, I move to approve updating the Village of North Hudson Employee Handbook to accommodate the increase.
Go back one, fee schedule.
What?
What?
Fee schedule?
He's on ahead.
Oh. I missed it.
Sorry. Yeah, there's a lot this meeting.
Motion to approve updating the Village of North Hudson Employee Handbook to accommodate the increase in vacation days per year to align with the benchmark provided by Alara Group and increase the part-time employees' days off to align more closely to full-time employees for both vacation and sick time.
Thank you. I second.
Is there, thank you.
I didn't get that one open for some reason.
Yeah,
Is that C or D?
yeah,
You
that's,
kind of skipped right over the fee schedule.
Or
That
did
was
we-
item C.
Oh, did she not do the right one?
no.
No, you're a D.
Well,
Somebody got the right one
it's,
open.
it's the next one, so we can certainly,
Oh, the fee schedule, I'm sorry.
No,
Well,
that's
we
okay.
have it open right now. Should we do D and go back to C?
Well,
Can
yeah,
we do
we've
that?
already motioned and
Yeah.
seconded this one. Can we
Yeah.
just,
yeah.
Sorry.
does that matter,
No,
Paul?
no, you're good.
No, I do have a question on this, though. Is there, and I haven't looked at the handbook, but are there caps on what you can accrue for sick time, vacation?
Yeah.
So you don't get caught?
There are.
Okay, good.
Chief has every single one of them capped. But no, that is a great question. There are caps. And, you know, again, what this is doing is, as I mentioned to the Finance Committee, it's actually not changing the amount of days that we offer. In total, it's changing when those offerings get applied. So this was one of the few things when we had our benefits consultant do benchmarking for us, that we were slightly lower than those around us. And really where it comes down to for full-time employees is today, when we start from years 1 to 6, it's 10 days of vacation. And then at year 7, through year 14, you get one more day per year to eventually kind of get us up to some of the totals that we see. Where the benchmark showed is that most other municipalities or competitors around us for the median, they went from that 10 to 15 at the 3-year mark instead of the 7-year mark. And so what we're proposing is that this would, we would jump up to that 3-year mark, and then at 7 years, we would actually go to that 15-year mark instead of waiting till year 20 to get to that, 7 years, we go to the 20-day mark instead of waiting till year 10 to get to that 20-day mark. So we're just kind of moving it forward. So the existing team members that this would impact positively would be, in full disclosure, myself, it would be Matt, it would be Jeremy, and it would be Mike. And then as we look into next year and look at retirements for both potentially Jenny and Chief, this would also then help them in recruitment for new team members as well.
And I can't tell from, is there an incentive after 10 years?
No, so we cap out at 20 hours, or 20 days, sorry.
And that's not part of the norm in the community, is to have any incentive for longer than 10 years.
I think we've only had one make it to like 24 years that I remember. But yeah,
That's a good
that's a
question.
good point.
Yes.
I mean, maybe we should look at that come budget time and think about adding. I mean, maybe you can ask that consultant, what would they do for longer-term employees?
Or yeah, find out if there's different things that other municipalities do.
Yep, for that 20-year mark, definitely can ask that.
Melodies better.
And then for the part-time employee, I think previously that there was only 3 days offered total, and there was no differentiation between paid time off and sick time. I think in some scenarios, depending on what that person's looking for the job to be, maybe that works, because when they're gone, they just don't get paid. But for someone that comes to work to receive a paycheck, that's really hard to raise a family and go through life with 3 days off for the year, otherwise you go unpaid. So what we're asking then is it to be more in alignment with what the full-time employees, the 40 hours a week are, obviously just at that prorated.
Anything else? No, I think these are good recommendations because we've always been about retention and trying to keep our good people, so, you know, I think it's a good plan, so. Okay, all in favor of the handbook time off changes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now, we'll go back to review and update the village fee schedule.
Third time's a charm.
Move to recommend approval of the updated village fee schedule as presented and authorize staff to implement the revised fees effective immediately.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Yeah, and I just want to clarify too on fee schedules. I think when people think of this, that these aren't fees that are impacting the average resident. So these are fees for things that individual residences, business owners, property owners will come to the village staff and ask for help with. And it has things to do with what we saw tonight, permits and licenses. It's special services, inspections, uses of our facilities, other types of activities that use our staff for that specific property or that specific business or that specific service. And so I don't want people to hear fee schedules increasing and think that the average resident is going to see additional things on their taxes. That's not it at all. So what we did is we went off with our fee schedule and looked back to how much time we spend on some of these activities, like liquor licensing and permitting, and the costs that we were, or the fee that we were charging for that, by no means was covering or even covering our costs. And so we started to compare those with municipalities around us and found in some cases we were significantly 5 times lower than other municipalities around us to do similar things. And so the recommendations for the increases came off of, again, not trying, this isn't a way to make it a profit. This is a way to make sure that we're recuperating the costs of the time that the village staff is spending to do these things that are above and beyond the normal things serving the majority of the residents. So there's a handful of them. Again, we looked at then how much of a difference, just so give you a feel for if we would have implemented these changes last year based off of these types of permits and things that we did, it would have equated to about an additional $5,000 of revenue, again, covering costs for the staff to actually perform these activities.
Thank you, Gina. Any other questions for Gina? Hearing none. All in favor of the updated village fee schedule, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item 14, Public Works Committee recommendations. Chair update. Brian, you're on.
Stan, the only thing that we met and the only thing that we approved, which does not need apparently board approval, I've been informed, is that we opened the RFPs for seal coating Cratley, and we selected a vendor. I just wanted you to know that.
So you don't have to tell us how much?
Well, it's about 24 grand, but the thing about it was we had 2 separate bids, and one came in at 9,100 and something square feet, and the other one came in at 10,000 square feet. And so when you compared the 2 of them, they were, you know, if you did the math, they're pretty much the same thing. And what I'm uncertain of is, well, we were told in the meeting by our public works director that we had to choose the smaller one, but that was also less square footage than the one that was about $1,000 more. So I'm like, I'm going to try and get clarification from Gina on that for next year. But we picked one of the 2, and we like both of them. We've used both vendors before.
Okay, so it says approval requested,
Yeah,
so.
that was an error on my part.
Okay.
It should just be an inform only.
All right. So that's all for you?
That's it.
All righty. Item 15, Public Safety Committee recommendations. Chair update. Dusty.
Yes, Dan. Well, we did not meet, but we do have some action items, and we have some, a good update as well. I mean, we have a new staff member that came on board. Chief, if you just wanted to provide a quick update on Officer DeBell, on how that's.
He's currently in his field training.
Yep, field training. So,
How long's that go?
Yeah, it's a personnel issue, so probably not really for a public meeting, but that's where he currently is in his training program.
he graduated. He's on board. Going with us right now. So, with that, otherwise, we have a few meetings back. We had brought up ordinance in regards to cryptocurrency kiosks, which I do have a motion statement here for that. So I motion to recommend approval of ordinance 05-2026 prohibiting the installation and operation of cryptocurrency kiosks, including virtual currency ATMs and similar electronic cryptocurrency transaction machines within the village of North Hudson.
Thanks, Dusty. Is there a second?
Second.
Nick, comments or questions?
So I know at one of our meetings, the chief had said or maybe it was Dusty, had said that this was going to be against Wisconsin law now. So is this currently against Wisconsin law?
No.
No, this is going with.
No. Yeah, the current law that just passed in the state of Wisconsin limits the daily amount to $1,000 that a person could put into a particular kiosk. And it also included a 30-day, if a person who does use the kiosk realizes after the fact that it is a scam or there's some sort of illegal activity that was surrounding their use of that machine, someone else asked them to go and do it, they have to notify the kiosk owner themselves and law enforcement, and the kiosk owner then would have to reimburse whatever amount, obviously with up to $1,000, because that would be the daily limit for that particular kiosk. So that was put into place it'll actually take place, I believe, next week, but it was approved back in April. The governor signed that particular law. So Wisconsin currently does allow kiosks. They just have limited daily limits and those types of things, unless Paul has anything to add to that.
No, I mean, I think it was a good step forward. Minnesota took a further step to ban them because, there's been multiple studies done and reports that they're primarily used to scam people. And people lose thousands of dollars, elderly people, and you hear the stories of people putting money in these machines and going around, and it's sad. So both states have recognized the issue, and, North Hudson has taken us one step further. Stillwater tried to do it. They were challenged, but the legislature in Minnesota took care of that. They just banned them totally. So will this ordinance be challenged? Who knows? But
What does it do to the current kiosks? They have to go?
the current kiosks will have to go.
Okay, so I was looking for this issue statement, couldn't find it while you were talking, so since I can't read it, what you're doing is saying that we are creating an ordinance to ban cryptocurrency kiosks in the village of North Hudson. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and let's see, it doesn't involve money, so all in favor of the ordinance 0526 prohibiting the installation of and operation of cryptocurrency kiosks in the village, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
And then Gina, if you want to cover section C for me?
Yes, I sure can.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah, so this one is being brought forward. Well, actually, why don't you read it, and then I'll go into it. Or someone read it? You can't read it, but
What's that?
someone want to read the motion, and I can open up for discussion.
A motion to approve starting the hiring process for the position of Chief of Police, including an authorization for staff to proceed with determining timelines and budgetary needs, recruitment activities, advertising, candidate screening, interview scheduling, and related hiring procedures consistent with village policy and applicable employment regulations and in conjunction with the village's police commission.
Second.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Dusty.
If no one would have seconded, he couldn't have done it. Oh, sorry, go on. Sorry, Chief.
Looking for it.
It's funny. I was thinking the exact
The whole time I'm like,
thing.
no one seconded this. We'll be fine, guys. Just keep letting it just keep going down.
I know, and trust me, this one is even hard for me to put in a motion, but the reality is that we have our current chief, Richard, is looking at a December of 2027 timeline for retirement. And so, again, it feels like a long ways away, but the reality is it isn't for several reasons. One of those is that we're already going to start to have conversations about budgeting in a month. And if we're going to do that, I obviously need to do some prep work to say what it's going to take in order for us to do all of these activities that were listed in that background information. And so I wanted to get ahead of that and just, again, state that we do know of this intent to retire in December of 2027, and I'm looking for your guys' approval to allow me to begin working with the police commission to start to prepare for replacement activities.
Any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor of the hiring process for the recruitment timeline for the position of chief of police, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Should have said no. Wish I had the courage.
He's sitting there, he's like, come on, I'll say aye. Nope. That's a tough one, chief. That's all I got.
Okay.
Thanks, Dusty.
Yeah, I know, thanks.
Item 16, Public Welfare Committee recommendations. Kirk, you got?
We did meet, nothing to really bring forward. We're still working on a couple of things for the different nuisances, but nothing to bring forward.
Thank you. And item 17, Park Board Committee recommendations. Chair update, Mary.
Thank you. Just an update, no recommendations bringing forward. I want to just say the park board agrees that the tree event was just a smashing success, and everyone was really happy to have the opportunity to be out and meet the community and do something really good. So that was wonderful. Thanks to the staff, and that really helped support that. The work has started at Chief Jansen. If you haven't seen it, it's there. Go take a look. It's coming right along, and it's very exciting. We are continuing, the park board's continuing to work on the 5-year outdoor recreation plan. We're now posting the suggested changes on the meeting documents. Anything that's crossed out is suggested to be deleted, and underlined is new language. And we're going through it like in a semi-sequential order. So the last thing we'll be getting to is the goals. So right now, we haven't got to the goals section. But that we're looking for public to comment. People are welcome to come to meetings and let us know what you think about the proposed mission and the role of the park board. And we'll be doing an evaluation of the park and prioritizing the changes that we want to see, and then putting in the 5-year goals. We are planning to have St. Croix County Community Development. Director Jason Cheeseth is going to have a representative come to the next park board meeting, June 16th, to talk about trail planning that the county has, and that'll be in preparation again for our work with the 5-year plan. That's it.
Thank you, Mary. And with that, we get to item 18, which is we are adjourned at 8:11.